chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks. Welcome to ChuggieBets. What you guys are doing for Halloween, right? But my family and I are dressing all like Jurassic Park, and I'm Dennis Nedry, and my wife is going to be the dinosaur that kills me, and Liam's going to be a dinosaur, right? I'm basically going to get mauled by my children and my wife. Great, right? It makes sense. It actually is pretty apropos to my actual life. But Liam is my son has been pretty spoiled, right? Because he never had to deal with any of the crappier houses. Everyone has evolved their candy game. But I don't know if you guys remember this as kids. I used to have one house I'd always stop by. They'd always give like a box of raisins as a Halloween gift, like a Halloween treat. I was like, that's a trick, motherfucker. That is not a treat. There's never a situation. I don't know if you guys have similar stories of like the worst houses.
No, I actually kind of appreciate the one who's trying to give like kind of a healthy snack. It's kind of more expensive, but in this one neighborhood, they'll give like it's like one of the little kid snacks, but it's not fruit snacks, but it's like one of the more healthier kind of. It's not a pouch, but you know the little toddler snacks that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just like a little bag with like little. I don't even know which ones they are, but they're not. I'll fucking Google it and tell you later.
Okay.
But yeah, that was actually a decent snack. I thought like I've been to a house that'll give a banana, and like like as a parent walking with the kids, I appreciate the banana. As a kid, fuck the banana.
It sucks as a kid. I get it as an adult, right? Everyone has that one dentist on the block that hands out toothbrushes like an asshole. Like, motherfucker, I get it, right? I'm going to eat candy. Here's a toothbrush. But I don't need you don't think I live in a house with a toothbrush? You think today's the day you got to give me
a toothbrush with his phone number on it, bud?
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. The marketing is good.
If I may cut in here, that was going to be part of my story.
Oh, sorry.
Look, I hated fucking going to houses where like there was like this one house that would always give out like cookies they baked and put in a bag and everything like that. And cookies are great if they were good, but these cookies always sucked.
Oh.
Right. But then so my dad was the dentist, right? And we would hand out the toothbrushes, but they'd be taped to a full size fucking candy bar.
Money.
No. All of my friends would be like, what the fuck are they doing giving out these goddamn toothbrushes? And it's like, they gave you a whole candy bar. Shut your fucking mouth. Eat your Butterfinger.
That's a fair trade for the full-size candy. That was always the holy grail, right? If you get that full-size candy bar, there was always that one house, and you try to like have costume changes and go back, but they're like, Matt, you've been here for 7 years.
The house across the street from Dan Campbell, it was like that giant mansion house in Eagle Trace. We used to go hit all the time.
Yeah.
Multiple
I always
hits.
hated the popcorn balls.
Those are bad.
Yeah. Like I'll eat any candy. It's amazing that I'm not diabetic. I love anything with sugar, candy corn, love it. Like there's no other but the popcorn balls. No thanks.
So I have to worry about diabetic because it runs in the family and everything. But I also love all different kinds of Halloween candies. I think the giant candy bar is kind of overrated.
What?
As an adult. As a kid, I loved it, I'm saying. But as an adult, I like the bite-sized candy.
You like the variety of the bite size?
Because you can mix and match, I guess.
I like that to have a quick like one bite of a Butterfinger without having to open a giant Butterfinger and like
opening it is the problem.
No, like then I have to, if I want more of it, I have to save it. You know what I mean? I have like a whole Butterfinger open. I just want
you eat the Butterfinger.
You're just being responsible. It makes you be responsible.
No, I think that not like not the little mini ones, but like the fun size candy bars are like that's a good snack size candy bar snack.
Right, but I'm saying I just eat the big one.
Danny, you're such a boomer.
Really are.
I am not wrong here. Those fun size candy bars are the right size for a snack, and if you want more, you could just have 2 of them when you're done.
I don't have a whole damn candy bar.
Just eat the candy bar.
The candy bar is only 2 of those.
Nobody's
handing out king size.
Were you guys allowed to eat like the freshly baked goods? I would never.
So that was another thing I was gonna say. Yeah. So my parents would like inspect my candy to make sure nobody like poked a pinhole in it.
Classic.
I don't know what they were afraid of, man. Who would waste that time trying to randomly poison kids?
Well, yeah, there's a comedian that talks about like people being afraid of drugs. Like nobody's giving away their drugs for free.
Yeah.
No, Danny,
or certainly not to somebody that they don't know, to a stranger
Yeah.
who doesn't know how to come back and buy them.
Exactly.
Danny, they were taking the best candies, bud. It's a trick. The fresh baked goods, I kind of understand there, right? Because if you have an allergy or they do, like, that's
We're
a
not allergic to anything. They should have let me eat those fucking cookies.
I know. I always wanted the fresh baked cookies. My parents would throw that shit away. And then they'd expect my candy. Then suddenly I was very low on Reese's peanut butter cups.
I think my dad might have eaten those damn cookies. I think my dad might have eaten those damn cookies too. I think you're onto something here.
Danny just had a realization. Danny, you want to talk about your dog that lives on a farm?
Oh, we figured that one out. I think my mom doesn't even know what happened there. I think my neighbor tricked my mom onto that one because she is stuck with that lie even after like we realized what happened. She's like, "No, we gave it back to Jay. He took him up. He had a friend on a farm upstate."
That's adorable. That's adorable that she is holding on that lie. That's like her. Yeah. I shouldn't say this, but he's believing things as a kid, and your mom still owning up, even though you clearly know the truth. I like that. I'm not going to say the specific application if kids are listening, but
yes.
What was the worst candy? Andy said he liked candy corn. That shit is terrible. That doesn't need to exist.
I don't like candy corn. You know those goobers or something? They're like those little malt balls.
Oh, I love a Whopper. You mean Whoppers? Like
is that what they are? Whoppers?
Goobers are chocolate covered peanuts.
No, those are delicious. And the chocolate covered caramel
ones.
Peanuts.
Big Phoenix energy.
Covered in chocolate.
The little caramel ones are good too. Mr. Good Bars. I don't know what they are, but Missy gets them at a movie
Milk
theater.
Duds are the
Milk Duds. There you go.
Covered in chocolate.
Oh,
I know this shit.
Yeah, Milk Duds are awesome. But no, those Whopper things, they taste like a really bad. It tastes like chocolate that went bad. I fucking hate that shit.
They taste like the Great Depression, and I love them. They taste like what can't even. They're like, we can only make a hard outside shell, you see, and like we don't have enough money to fill it, and they give you a Whopper.
Yeah, Matt's not a boomer. He's like the lost generation, is why he loves that shit.
I'm the greatest generation. All right, I had some saltwater taffy.
Further back, buddy. Further back. You're the lost generation.
Sunshine, any candy that you hated in particular?
Most of it's Easter candy. If you give me Easter candy at Halloween, I might give you an upper decker next time I'm in your house.
What do you mean? If it
Get
was
your
like
peeps the fuck out of here.
Peeps are delicious too.
What's that?
Are you saying if it was misthemed, like if it was like Easter eggs?
Yeah, that for sure. But like you can find like the same thing like that are peeps, but they're pumpkins.
Or shaped like a ghost. Yeah, ghosts.
Yeah. It's just like
People have been having these Halloween themed pretzels. Utz gives out these like bats and ghosts or whatever pretzels, and at a couple trunk or treats we've been to, people have been handing those out. And I mean, come on, pretzels for Halloween? That's
bar snacks.
You're not even gonna give me any hummus or something to dip them in.
I said the same thing. I was like, I don't know if I can stand for this.
Yeah.
I love a good pretzel, but I only really like pretzels if I've been drinking. And I'm assuming most of the kids who are getting this are not drinking to the same level I am when I'm eating pretzels. Or maybe they are. Maybe a little bit of booze, like a little bit to take the daycare off, right? They need a little bring down, but
it's a lot of toys they got to play with.
It is. It's a lot of work.
Stressful.
Well, welcome to ChuggieBets, everybody. I'm Matt. There's Danny. Sunshine in the corner. Andy's below me. That's great. I don't think we're going to give you any more bullshit. You should have listened to the first one. We give you a lot of good shit in the first one. I'm just going to let Andy drive us and go through the game starting at Saturday at noon. Go for it, bud.
Yeah, Saturday at noon, we've got Arkansas coming into Florida. Matt and I are fighting right off the bat. I think we have a lot of agreement later on, but we're starting off with a fight. I'm taking Arkansas plus the 6. I don't believe in Florida. It's pretty much as simple as that. Arkansas has been, but what do you got, Matt?
Really, I don't believe in Florida either. I believe in Arkansas, even after coming out of the bye, they're giving up. I don't see this team being particularly good. They're 2-6 at this point. one more loss, and they can fire Sam Pittman and save $8 million in the buyout. I think Arkansas is actually rooting to lose as far as the organization because it's a lot cheaper buyout, and that team doesn't seem invested at all. It's more of a play on, I think, Florida is better, and I think Arkansas may give up. Now, Florida may also give up soon. I think that Georgia game may have been deflating, but I think Arkansas is in a much worse space.
Can't be much worse.
They're pretty bad, dude. That 7-3 against 3 game against Mississippi State is something that's going to stick in my brain forever. It was awful.
All right. So then also at noon on Saturday, we've got the Gamecocks going in to play the Gamecocks.
Ooh, a cock off.
It is a cock off. Would anybody like to play the part of Al and give out Al's picks tonight?
Sure. Jacksonville State's pretty good. South Carolina has been playing very poorly as of late. I think all that early energy hype, all early season hype has worn off. The game against Missouri wasn't good. And I think 15.5 points is too many points.
South Carolina's coach is Shane Beamer, right?
Correct.
Did you guys see he broke his foot kicking something? He was so angry about how they were playing. He kicked something and broke his foot. He was like limping around on the sidelines.
Badass. I like that. I hope they get some energy from that, but they're not. They're bad. And I know a lot of people were buying into South Carolina's hype after the end of the year last year, but they kept losing players and they were not replacing them at the same point. But you don't hear him complaining in front of interviewers like Narduzzi or anyone.
No, he just kicks shit.
That's what men do. Men just handle their business by being aggressive to themselves. He should start drinking more and just ignoring his family.
Yeah, more drinking and more violence is
not violence against the family, violence against yourself, and more drinking and ignoring.
Drink more and ignore your family.
Like how men did it in the good old days when they were eating Whoppers and saltwater taffy.
All right, at noon, Kansas State is going in to play Texas. Danny's parents' alma mater. Danny, what do you got for us there?
So I was a little surprised that Malik Murphy got basically every snap at quarterback last week for Texas. I thought we'd see Arch for, a play or two, but nope. He played okay, good enough to win. So I'm going with Texas here against Kansas State. Kansas State, really good team. They've been just blowing the pants off of bad teams. TCU, not the national champion contender they were last season. They beat the pants off of them. Houston, just not contending at the highest level this year against most of the teams they're playing. And that's who Kansas State's been just like beating the crap out of. Texas, on the other hand, has played some difficult games with the loss to OU. But they're also, dominating teams like Houston and BYU. So I just think Texas is going to win this game. I think that they're going to come in, and I think that even without Quinn Ewers, they're going to be able to cover 4 points.
It's going to be a good game. 4 is very fun, right? Especially because that assumes they're pretty even on a neutral field. So
I kind of picked games that I wanted to watch this week for the most part.
Good way to live.
Absolutely.
Hey, question for you, Danny. I didn't watch the game, so I have to ask, but did Texas dominate Houston? I mean, you said it.
It was a closer game than it should have been.
I mean, like, is it one of those, because a lot of times, like you'll see like a Florida State score, and you're like, oh, they blew them out of the water, or oh, that was close, and like really the score doesn't show how the game played out. And so like I was looking over your pick, and I was like, 7 points. I didn't know if Houston took this early lead and then Texas just came back and blew them out.
I think that game was on the same time as the Miami game, so I didn't really watch it.
I watched it. So Quinn Ewers got hurt early into like the second quarter. And Malik Murphy, I don't think was ever planning on playing that game. Malik Murphy is a high-level recruit. Now that they game planned with Malik Murphy in mind, knowing that Quinn Ewers was out, they looked a lot more dominant because he's a high-level recruit. He's really good. They just hadn't built a game plan around him.
Is Quinn Ewers out for the season?
I think he's out for a couple of weeks still. And I don't know if he's out. He would play in a bowl game, but I don't know if he'll play before the bowl game.
I mean, he played pretty well in the BYU game, but the Houston game, yeah, he wasn't expected to play in that game. Quinn Ewers didn't play in the BYU game. He was out already.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm saying about the Houston game.
Yeah, the Houston game. Okay.
Hey, is Malik Murphy? Is he the guy that they posted a picture of all the Texas quarterbacks and he like towered over everybody?
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen it.
I didn't see that picture.
Well, I'm looking at it right now, and he's 6'5", but there's a picture of it's all the Texas quarterbacks together, and like there's one guy on the end, and he's like leaning down, and it just points out it's like Arch Manning is on the other end. And it says Arch is 6'4".
Wow.
I think it's important to note too that I don't think the game plan was ever to start Arch Manning this year. I know that's like more of a media thing. I don't think he was ready coming from the school he was from to big games his freshman year.
This was more like just coming from my dad, who follows Texas pretty closely, that there were rumors that he was going to come in for a drive or two.
That makes sense. And they won handily
in the BYU game, and he was like, they were prepping him for it in practice, and I guess they just decided not to. So
yeah, and then in today's era of being able to play 4 games and not lose your red shirt, those prep plays feel really good.
Yeah.
All right.
That game wasn't close. So
no, they kicked the shit out of him.
Moving on to the Big Ten, also at noon, Nebraska going into the Big House to play Michigan State.
Classic Big House.
Thank you. I'm taking Michigan State plus the 3.5. Nebraska's not good. I know they won big last week, but Michigan State plus 3.5. Then we've got the battle of the Catholics versus the Southern Baptists. I'm assuming Dabo's Southern Baptist. Do we know?
He's got
to be. It's got to be, right? Yeah. Notre Dame going in to play Clemson. Al has a pick on this, but before we do that, we got a meme that we're going to share here. Sunshine, I'm going to pull this up here in just a second. Once I've got it up, if you want to talk to people through this meme here, it's a pretty good one.
I absolutely would. I would love to talk people through this meme.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm almost there. All right. So if you're listening on podcast form, you won't be able to see this, but you should watch us on YouTube. So there we go.
So we found this rich little nugget here. Somebody sent it to us earlier this week. But what it talks about is it says that people think don't take God's name in vain means there are specific syllables that you shouldn't exclaim in anger. And like actually, what it really is, it's more about declaring a holy oath by, claiming that you are basing your team in the image, likeness of God, and failing to do it and going 4-4.
Yeah, he obviously he's been taking God's name in vain for sure.
Yeah. Not only is the tweet hilarious, but some of the comments are fantastic as well. Like, to whom 11 million per year is given, better than the Gasparilla Bowl will be required. That's fantastic. Hang on, there's one more here. When you lose to NC State, do this in remembrance of me. Hilarious.
Oh, I love the "He Gets Us" commercial. Jesus was a 4-4 team. He gets us.
Yeah.
Those commercials get me.
Good stuff. All right. So in that game, Al's got to pick. Matt, you want to give that out for him?
Yeah, Al's going to go Notre Dame laying the 2.5. It's probably the right side here. Clemson has been bad, man. They just haven't looked like themselves. And really the problem's been offensively, which I think is hilarious. That everyone's like, well, get rid of DJU. Start Cade Klubnik. It's got to be better. Not better. It's not better at all. Hey, Dabo, the athletic director is going to smash Dabo's face into whatever computer has the transfer portal in and be like, hey, look, players are here. Get them. Don't let everyone else get them. But sorry, that's aside. Notre Dame, lay the 2.5.
I think Dabo doesn't like fundraising.
He just likes fun taking.
Yeah, and I think that transfer portal requires a lot of fundraising.
Sure
And I
does.
also think that while this first couple of years of NIL, the players are taking a lot of advantage to it, I think that the supporters of these programs are going to get exhausted very quickly. of having to pay player salaries.
I don't think that's true. I think that you see these collectives or whatever they're called, they end up doing a lot of work. Like you can sign up and be for $20 a month, right? That ends up being a lot of money over the year. But if you love watching college football, what's $240 to you if you get better players and you can go from 7-5 to 9-3 because of those players? It's probably worth the $240 if that's the joy you invested in. Also, Clemson literally has IPTAY, IPTAY, on their field. They're the only people that have that on their field. What is IPTAY? It means I pay thousands a year. It means that they take Sunshine. Am I wrong about what IPTAY means?
It means I pay 10 a year, and that's what it started. But no, they pay thousands a year.
And it's a point of pride saying, hey, we invest in our football program here. It's very odd, but Clemson's the only one who has IPTAY, like 2 games a year written on their field. Next time you see it, I'll point it out.
That's weird.
It is. That's a weird school. The whole thing is fucking weird. It's like it's getting Texas A&M-y over there.
I will say that all of my friends that are IPTAY, if you will, part of that club, that they started paying 10 a year when they were like freshmen.
Yeah.
And like now they're like, oh no, I pay about $100 a month at least,
I think it's fun taking is my point. The greater point. I think they have the funds.
Yeah. All right. Going back to the Big
some
Ten.
Good college football there, by the way. This is not just dumb shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that pick a lot too. Sam Hartman. All right. Going back to the Big Ten, Ohio State, Rutgers. I teased in the last pod that this was going to be my favorites week. I've already given out 2 dogs, so let's start off the favorites here. I'm laying 17.5 points with Ohio State. It is very rare that my spreadsheet tells me to take a favorite at all, but especially a big favorite like this. I think the last one was Penn State UMass. I didn't take it. It covered easily. I'm taking this one. Ohio State is way better than Rutgers. They're going to lay the 17.5.
Dangerous game taking big favorites on the road in November, buddy, especially when the big favorites are undefeated. Dangerous game. I'm praying for you, buddy.
They're not going to drop this one to Rutgers.
Not saying they're going to drop it, but maybe it's stinky.
All right. Then we've got SEC clash here. Texas A&M going into Ole Miss. Sunshine, what do you got for us there?
So these are 2 teams that I like to pay attention to for different reasons. Texas A&M, I'm just not a Jimbo Fisher fan anymore. And with Ole Miss, soft spot in my heart. I watch a lot of Ole Miss football with my neighbor. So I've been following both teams for those reasons, and I think they both have the ability to score, and I think that it will be a high-scoring game. So over 53.5. Yeah.
Let's roll. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we've got UConn going into Tennessee. Matt, you want to give that house play there?
Rocky Top. We're taking Tennessee and we're laying 35 here. Feels like a lot. UConn's bad. Tennessee is pretty good in all capacities. So sure, let's lay 35 for Al.
All right, that takes us to the end of the 12 o'clock window. We'll move into some of the afternoon games here in just a moment. But before we do that, Danny, we had some pretty good games there that we talked about at noon, but we've got some even bigger ones coming up here. Have you thought about when you're going to mow your lawn?
So, we're getting later into the fall. You don't actually have to mow every single week when it gets this late into the fall. And if you're going to try and beat the 12 o'clock games, you're basically going to miss one of the best Premier League windows you're going to have. We got like 5 games at 10. You could, if you skipped last week, you could try and skip that super early game. It's like Fulham versus City or Fulham versus United, one of the Manchesters. But that you got to get up real early. You'd be bothering your neighbors. You don't want to. You got an early NFL game on Sunday. So
big one.
You definitely want to be in your chair ready for that. So I personally will be skipping this week.
Wow, no mow.
Yeah,
No
it's a rare
mo.
no-mo for me.
Unbelievable. Unprecedented.
I
And that has
may
been,
just for fun, just for fun do it on Friday night instead of date night, but we'll see.
Fair enough.
and that has been a moment with Danny.
Yeah, I'll drink to a moment with Danny. I miss the birds. We need Al here with his.
Yeah, the birds really help.
Yeah, they do. All right. Arizona State, Utah, 2:00. Matt and I are on the same side fighting Danny. So, Danny, I'll let you go first. What do you got here?
So I know what Andy would say here, which is basically everybody's overreacting to Utah getting blown out by Oregon, and I'm getting value on this play because of that. But I think Utah was exposed a little bit last week, and I think Arizona State figured something out last week against Washington State. So I'm actually going to take the 11 points.
I'm shocked that I'm not on that with you. Laying the points here feels weird and strange, and I don't like it. But Matt, tell him why he's wrong.
Arizona State may have figured out something against Washington State. They're still super bad. Like Washington State may be more exposed from when they were in September, right? When everyone loved Cam Ward and everyone called them a darling. Arizona State has not gotten particularly better. Going to Rice Eccles, I don't see this one being close, especially at 11 or what is it, noon Utah time, 11 a.m. Arizona State time. I think Utah's going to roll.
Yeah. Plus, I trust Daddy Kyle.
Oh,
He's been
Kyle's
upgraded. He's a beautiful man.
Utah's defense has not been the dominant force this year that we expect.
Doesn't need to be against Arizona State.
Arizona State figured out a way to put up 38 points against Washington State, who admittedly not a dominant defense, but yeah,
I still have Utah as a top 10 defense, personally. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's where I have them.
And grading against Oregon and USC is tough, right? Oregon is you guys now.
I mean, they've averaged 34 and a third points their last 3 games giving up. So I mean, maybe you're considering the games where they were only giving up 7 to Oregon State in your stats, but if you look at recency bias, they're averaging about 5 touchdowns giving up a game.
Yeah, you got to look at who they were playing, though, right? Playing Oregon's a little different.
Yeah, Oregon, USC, and Cal.
Yeah,
Pac-12 teams. They're playing another Pac-12 team.
Bad.
You're saying that Arizona State and USC's offense are in the same category?
Yeah,
is that what you're implying here? Because you're wrong.
No, that's absolutely not what I'm implying. But
all right. Well, at least you're putting your money where your mouth is this time.
I like
you're making an official pick. I love it. We'll see who's right on the field. It's why they play the game. Then we've got Georgia Tech, Virginia. Taking another favorite here. I'm laying the 2.5 with Virginia. I do not feel good about this, though. And the reason that I do not feel good about this is because the Georgia Whisperer himself is on the other side of this. Sunshine, tell me why Georgia Tech's the right pick here.
They're coming off a hot win. I mean, like, they're not like the greatest team on the field all the time, but they're finding ways to win in games that matter. One of the first weeks of college football, or the week before, we talked about teams on this podcast. We were talking about teams that, like Georgia Tech was like projected to get, 3 wins or something. And I said they would at least get 4. And here we are now. They're at 4 wins. That's nice. So they beat UNC. Virginia beat UNC. So I think these are 2 teams blossoming at the end of the season. They're well matched up. UVA is at home, but I just think that it might be a 1-point game.
Tony Muskett's coming into town, though. Tony Muskett, greatest name in college football. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tony Muskett, yeah, gunslinger. Also, on that Arizona State game, they've covered 4 out of their last 5 games and pushed on the other because you guys all are still doubting them. You think they're bad, but they almost beat Washington. They pushed against Colorado. They covered a huge spread against Cal, only lost by 3. They covered a huge spread against USC, only lost by 2 touchdowns. So
okay, so let's go back to that. Let's go to the Washington game. We talked about the first half before. Michael Penix threw 2 picks and fumbled the ball, and they got 7.
Somebody had to catch those picks, man.
And Washington's not a prolific defense. They are a good offense, so maybe their defense is playing better, right? But if you want to get in a dogfight and a defensive battle with Uncle Kyle, I actually like it more. Uncle Kyle is going to suffocate the shit out of you because that offense is not doing I promise you they're not going to do anything against Utah. I want to take the Arizona State team total under. Whatever that number is, and when they announce it, I'll take it. I'll take that in advance. They're not scoring shit this week.
They're the best 2-6 team out there.
Like that's I can't argue with that. You're probably right.
Andy.
Yeah.
Dude, it's not like it was a short line, man. It's 11 points.
It doesn't matter. It's not enough.
Too many points.
I can't believe I'm on the other side of it. Honestly, it feels weird. Sonny, what were you saying?
I was going to say, why are you taking UVA?
I thought they looked pretty good against Miami. They could have, should have won that game. Turns out Mario does know how to take a knee at the end of the game, but it's only to go to overtime.
Just the half.
No, he did it to go into overtime at the end of the game.
Oh, he did? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I was driving between my dad's house and my house at that time, so I didn't see the knees. I thought he ran the ball to like he
I was
did
driving too,
week.
but I put the game on the radio like a true fan.
I love a good game on the radio. I know it's undervalued.
One of the Miami announcers is really bad. I don't know which one it is. I don't know who he is, but
Zagacki.
He is not.
It can't be Zagacki.
Zagacki's the legend.
Zagacki's the best.
One of them was real bad.
Did he have a really breathy voice and he does everything very sing-songy, like touchdown, Miami Hurricanes?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't remember. But he like wouldn't say what was happening on the field. He would be like completion. And then like, okay, was it in the backfield? Was it a 30-yard pass? Like, what that means fucking nothing to me. And then he was going like 14 yards, 13, 12, 11.
That's Zagacki.
You don't have to give me every fucking yard line. Like 15, 10, 5 is sufficient. I promise you, I know the numbers in between. It was.
How fast was this guy? Or how fast was Zagacki speaking?
I don't know. Because I was listening on the radio. I don't know if he was like pushing the pile. I don't know what was happening, but it was bad. Moving on. Navy at Temple. I'm laying the 7 with Navy. Temple's real bad. And then we've got something we all look forward to all year, every time that there's a matchup between two of our armed forces academies. Thank you to our troops. Army is going in to play Air Force out in Colorado somewhere. And Al has a pick on this. Al is laying 18.5 with Air Force. I do think Air Force is way better than Army, but that is a big number to be laying. He's also taking the Army team total under 7.5. So
I like that. I like that a lot.
I guess if he believes Army's going to score less than 7 points, 7 or less, it's a little easier to cover that spread. But I don't know. Those are dangerous numbers from my point of view.
Yeah, they could end up with 3 field goals somehow.
Or a field goal and 2 safeties, in honor of Brian.
All right, Pete.
So, Danny, you've got a pick on this as well?
Yeah, it's just all the time, every time it pops up, play under 34. It's really low.
It is really low. It's almost Iowa, Nebraska, or Iowa Northwestern low.
Yeah, it's almost the two games combined is 65 points, but which USC might put up alone.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing the under 34 because it literally hits like 90% of the time when you go up against the U.S. military, nobody scores any points.
You know what? I feel like an idiot for not doing it last time with you when you hit, and I was like, I kind of like the over, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to stay away. I'll probably bet it personally. But Air Force scares me. They're good. They're actually legitimately
Yes, you did this with Navy. When Air
I
Force
know. I'm repeating the same thing.
What did Navy do? Exactly what I said. They dragged the game into the mud. There were like 4 possessions in the second half, and Air Force won, but not by enough.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I normally take the Service Academy unders with you because they're just fun, like a fun tradition. But this is the total that showed the most value of any total I had this week, and it was on the over.
This is the one that
so I'm
I've
just
hated
staying away.
taking. This is the one that I've hated taking more than any other. But like when you're on a hot streak, I'm not Martin Galligan, you know. I'm up like 25 units on this bet over the course of like 10 years or whatever.
That's true.
It
Even
hits
if you
a
miss
lot.
one eventually.
It hits a
Like
lot.
I haven't liked a lot of them over the times. So this one I just got to keep doing it.
That's fair. Maybe I'll jump on it with you just personally, just for fun. But more power to you.
Also, this one's always in the quad box. It'll be in like every quad box.
That's true. Because we love our troops.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 3:00, the official start of the afternoon window. FAU, UAB, playing at UAB. I'm taking UAB plus 2.5 and under 60. 60 points is just too many for these guys. Sorry, Matt, what was that?
I like those. Those are good.
Thank you, sir. Then continuing my favorites week, I am laying 13 with Memphis.
Damn,
as
that's
South
a big
Florida
number.
It is. This is my second double-digit favorite that I've taken, and there's more coming. So, but yeah, Memphis. I'm laying 13 with the Tigers against South Florida. South Florida is just real bad. It's amazing to me to look back and think that they hung with Alabama for a little while, like a month or two ago, but they're real bad.
Yeah, remember back when Alabama everybody thought was like fucking terrible, and it was like during that game. And
they're just fine. They're pretty
good.
But
they're not like Alabama.
We'll see. You got a good game coming up we can talk about.
All right. Then at 3:30, Coastal Carolina is going into Old Dominion. Last week, I took Coastal, and I did not know that Grayson McCall was out, and I'd already bet it before I learned that, and they just blew the doors off. I don't even remember who they were playing. No problem with the new quarterback. Turns out Grayson McCall's a system quarterback. That's all he is. It's just the system, guys. So I'm laying 2 with Coastal. Sonny, I think you're going against me on this one, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be that close of a game. That's it, really. I think that they're like Coastal's got one more win than Old Dominion does, but as far as the Sun Belt goes, they're neck and neck, and I just think it's going to be a close game, and I'm going to take the points with whoever I can.
Fair enough. All right, and then for this next one, I am going to clear out and let Sonny and Matt have their say here. Florida State is going in to take on Pitt. Matt, you don't have a play on this, but I'll throw it to you. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah. So traditionally and before the season, everyone is like, this is the trap spot. This is the trap spot. Pitt plays pretty well. They'll probably be a 10-point dog at home. This is the trap spot. While I don't agree with that, I think Pitt is very not good, especially coming off a 49-point loss to Notre Dame on the road, mind you. Pitt does some things, and they have a tendency to stick around in a bunch of these games. Do I think Florida State is 21 points better? Yes. A couple points to support that. Florida State has given up only 1 touchdown in the second half since that Clemson game. They adjust extremely well. Maybe they steal signs. We didn't get to that in Harbaugh talk, but they do adjust very well going into the second half. And Valu or whatever his name is, the Pittsburgh quarterback that has taken over, has been okay, but their offense is not good. Not good enough. And they don't have that traditional Pittsburgh defense where they're tough up the middle. My only reason I'm not taking this game is I do not like taking undefeated teams going on the road by big numbers in November. Right? Things get weird in this time of year. There are like 6 undefeated teams that are ranking. There will not be 6 come the end of the year. There will not be 6 going into rivalry week. I do think Florida State is considerably better here. And I would if not undefeated, I would lay the 21, but I'm not doing it.
It's 21.5. I very much want to lay it, but I just had too many other picks. Florida State's going to cover this. You should bet it. I don't know why you guys aren't. Andy's wrong.
I'll probably prize picks Keon Coleman, especially if that number starts with a 6 again. I'm going to do it. If it's not 70 yards, I am prize picking the shit out of Keon.
When Pitt's defense runs into a competent offense, they give up 60 points. So Florida State's going to run through them.
Sonny, do you have thoughts?
Hey, I hope the Knowles win. That's first and foremost. But always I want a good game, and for me, a good game is scoring. There's some people out there like Iowa fans, and they like those low-scoring games. I am not an Iowa fan. I mean, nothing wrong with Iowa at all. I'm not a fan of low-scoring games.
Yeah, that over 51.5 you guys might hit in the first half.
In the 14-game winning streak that Florida State is currently on, they have not scored 30 points. And usually it's far north of 30 points.
Pitt just got ran out of the fucking off the field by Notre Dame 58-7. When they played UNC, they stayed with them a little more, but it was still 41-24. They fucking gave up 38 points to Virginia Tech. I mean, their defense is bad.
But I mean, Virginia Tech, aren't they really good, right? Aren't they controlling their own destiny?
They do control their own destiny in the ACC because the ACC is weird.
But Danny, I do think there's a bit of a trap spot because I'm sure Florida State, everyone's trying to stay motivated week over week, but next week's Miami, right? And regardless of the record of that game, it's going to take precedent.
Okay.
Oh boy!
You guys don't have to worry about us.
You say that because if we don't, all of a sudden we will have to.
Yeah, we need to win this game.
Yeah.
So I think Florida State does win this game, but 21.5 is a lot of points. And I can see Florida State getting out to a big lead and then letting Pitt come in the back door. Yeah, I said it here on this one. So I'm taking the Pitt plus the 21.5. I think Florida State wins. I think they win easily. But 21.5 is a big number.
See, I don't think it's getting made up in the second half. I think it's one of those things where there's a fumble or interception. The game's close early. Like I said,
Florida State scored was in that Louisville game where it was so many weird ways to score. It was a bunch of short fields and turnovers.
That's what I'm saying. That seems like the scary way against Pittsburgh. Florida State's defense has been fucking ridiculous in the second half of games, absolutely dominating teams. And they're not good teams. And Pittsburgh is not a good team. Do not get it twisted. But I don't think this is a backdoor. I think if it is close, it's going to be close in the second quarter, and then Florida State may dominate the third or something like that.
Fair enough. All right. Then continuing my theme of favorites week, I'm laying 4.5 with Baylor. They've got Houston coming into town. Houston's bad. Take Baylor, lay the 4.5. And then Minnesota has Illinois coming into town. Illinois is bad. Take Minnesota, lay the 3.
Wow.
Oh, my God. I can't believe you just said that.
I can't believe you're laying the 3 with Minnesota.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know. Even if I would never bet against my team, especially to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually do it, but the numbers showed a ton of value, and I'm kind of just done with Illinois right now.
It's available at 2 now.
Ah, even better. Thank you, sir. So I will lay 2 with Minnesota. All right.
I just don't do that.
I follow the spreadsheet, man.
I know Illinois had a rough time against the pass, but is Minnesota going to throw the ball on you?
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They definitely are. Plus, our best player is out for the first half. He got a roughing the passer. Yeah, Johnny Newton. He got a bullshit roughing the passer call, by the way, in the second half. They don't let these kids play football anymore. I think I texted you guys, college football is soft. And then they marched down the field and scored and beat us after we lost our best player to the roughing call. So
he'll be out Sunday next year, so that's fair enough. He's freaking great.
Yeah, he's awesome. All right. And then, guys, our Super Bowl. This is
baby.
The game you've all been waiting for us to get to. Iowa playing Northwestern, but not in Evanston, in Wrigley. Illinois played Northwestern in Wrigley a couple of years ago, and they don't quite have enough room. So one of the end zones is shorter than a normal end zone, and it's right up against the ivy. And do you know what's behind the ivy, guys?
Bricks.
A brick wall. There is no padding there. It is about this much ivy and then a brick wall. So guys are not heading into that end zone with quite as much speed as they might normally. They just slow it a lot down a little bit heading towards that brick wall. But I think almost all of us have a play here. Danny, kick us off. What do you got?
So solely a weather play because of the wind. It has nothing to do with Iowa's standard way of playing football. I'm doing the under 31, which is this is really close to the lowest under I've ever taken.
Yeah, it's not a first half under. This is a
Yeah.
game under.
I believe I have gotten into the 20s in one of the Army-Navy games, but
Matt, you're on this too, right?
Yeah, well, going back to the Wrigley Field thing, I wish they would put it in Chicago in like a bigger stadium, but they don't have any football stadiums in Chicago, right? Not like a single one, so they have to put it at a Wrigley. They don't have like a 80,000 person stadium that they could put them in.
If only they had one like right on the lake, like that would be really cool, right?
It's
Look out over the lake.
Convenient.
Yeah,
and it has like a big Greek monolith on the front. It's called like named after war veterans or soldiers or something. No,
that would be very honoring to our troops.
Do you think Northwestern is concerned that if they play there, all their quarterbacks will stink?
That's true.
I mean, is that any different from normal?
It'd be fitting.
I think they don't play there because they know how pathetic it will look when there's 1,400 fans in the stadium.
Iowa would fill that stadium.
I feel like Chicago's an Iowa town anyways. I know that hurts.
Whoa.
I know. I'm taking the under 31, and really the reason is why the fuck not? This sounds like a fun way to watch some really terrible football and root against it, and it's so low that I'm entertained by it. I will probably cover here. I'll probably lay the points with Iowa, and I'll let Andy explain why, but I like it. I'm under 31 for fun.
By the way, Andy, Otto Graham played for Northwestern, so he'd like to have a word with you talking shit about their quarterback history.
You had to go back to Otto Graham to find a good Northwestern quarterback.
I just had to find the best Northwestern quarterback ever. Otto Graham's a pretty fucking good one.
Yeah, but that's hilarious. All right, so Al and I are both on the same play here. We're both
Trevor Siemian?
Iowa. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now we're talking Hall of Fame.
I'm not saying I'm going to make this play, but I'm debating it, and it's only because it goes against everything you guys are saying. But maybe I do go over 31 because Brian Ferentz is going to like come out and just try to like, I don't know, make a statement piece for his next job, which will probably be like, I don't know, OC the Tennessee Titans or something. I don't know.
You think he tries to do that Canadian football play where they punt on third down to get a first down? You guys don't know that you can do that? Okay. Well, I don't know if you guys follow Canadian football at all.
No, I'm American.
Well, they only get 3 downs is one of the many little nuances with Canadian football. But they have this rule that on third down, if you punt the ball across the line in a scrimmage, it's a live ball, like a kickoff. So if you have 3rd and 30, and then they're in prevent, you can throw a quick little screen pass and punt it, get across the line of scrimmage real easily, and recover it yourself and get a first down.
Interesting.
But that would clearly be a Brian Ferentz special if you could do that.
That's true. But Sonny, I like your thought process there. Al and I are both laying the points with Iowa. I think Iowa's better than Northwestern anyway. I think Iowa really only needs to score an Iowa touchdown here to cover this game because Northwestern's not scoring against that Iowa defense. But yeah, if Brian just pulls out all the stops, he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to show you, because now he knows he's auditioning for his next job. Absolutely. Maybe we see a little razzle dazzle from the Iowa.
That could lead to turnovers and a loss, though.
That's true.
Hey, even better if it creates scoring opportunities for the other team because I'm betting the over.
There we go.
Yeah. Also, this game
That's a
will
bad
be aired
bet. This is the under game. It's going to be 6-0.
Yeah. This game will be aired on Peacock for anybody listening.
Nice. All right.
I'm going to have
on.
to search out for this game. It's not just going to show up in my quad boxes.
No, I don't know. Maybe.
All right. At 3:30, we've got James Madison going in to take on Georgia State. I will let the Georgia Whisperer take this one. What do you got here for us, Sonny?
So this is a really tough one for me because last week Georgia State faced Georgia Southern and they lost. And up until that point, Georgia State's only loss had been to Troy, which was they're a solid team also. But in this instance, had Georgia State not lost, I would have thought there was a possibility that they could win this game. And my friend Matt reminded me that, you can take the points, and maybe they will. So it's played at Georgia State. James Madison is probably the best team in the Sun Belt Conference, but hopefully Georgia State can keep it close.
All right, I like that analysis. Al disagrees with you. He is laying the 5.5 with James Madison. James Madison has looked really good. They ran into a wagon with Old Dominion last week, but they still won. So Al is laying the 5.5 with James Madison, and then they're taking the Georgia State team total under 24.5. So Al thinks the Georgia State defense is going to shut down the Dukes. Matt, did you have something you wanted to add on that one?
No, this feels like an upset spot. James Madison's kind of been coasting through everything, but I kind of like it. If I'm going to make a bet here, I may take the money line, Georgia State, and see where the chips fall out. Right, pair it with something else. We want to do some round robin. It feels like a good opportunity. I don't think James Madison's going to go undefeated in a road game with a small spread. Seems fun.
Yeah, I like it. All right, next we've got a SEC clash, Missouri, Georgia. Matt, what do you got for us here?
This one's going to be really close to the spread. I do think Missouri is good. I do think Georgia is better, but I like the game. 15.5 feels like too many points. So I do think Georgia wins by 2 touchdowns, which means I got a very tight window, but I'm going to take the 15.5 with Missouri.
If I can get a second, I'm not placing a bet on this, but I'd like to talk about it. I agree with you on that one, Matt. Like, it's so tempting to take that, it's so tempting to take the 15.5 because Missouri has played good. Their only loss is to LSU, who is a good team.
Shootout.
Right?
Shootout.
Yeah. But, when it comes to this one, I personally want to take Missouri plus 15.5, but it's just like, as I'm looking over it, I'm sorry, I picked the wrong team to look over, but Georgia, it's like they played a lot of teams close that they shouldn't have, and teams that they should play close, they blow them out. Yeah. I really do believe Kentucky was a good team when they played Georgia, and Georgia just stomped them, and I lost that bet.
I don't think Georgia takes Missouri very seriously, though. Do you think so? I think this could be like one of those look-ahead spots. When do they play Tennessee next?
They play. It goes Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Oh,
okay. So
Tennessee, like this could be a look-ahead spot. Wow.
Look, and I don't think anyone's sneaky. I don't think Missouri's sneaking up on anyone anymore. They're 7-1, or I think like they're not catching anyone off guard anymore. Luther Burden, as I've said on this podcast, is a friggin' monster. He's awesome, and he's going to continue to be awesome. And I do think Georgia is better. Just it seems like it just too many points, right? It's a case where it's a 2-touchdown game. It's like Wisconsin last week against Ohio State. Didn't love it, but a plus 14.5, it's too many points, and I got it at 14. It's a 2-touchdown game.
Yeah, I like it. I'm not on it, but I would be if
you were laying so many this week.
I know. If it wasn't favorites week, I'd be on it if it wasn't favorites week. So this next one, I want to talk about this just for a minute. Nobody on the pod has a pick on this one, but Oklahoma is going into Oklahoma State. And this could be the end of an era, gentlemen. This is the last official Bedlam game with Oklahoma leaving for the SEC. They'll have to agree to play each other as part of the non-conference schedule if they're going to play anymore going forward. So just want to see if you guys have any thoughts on the end of Bedlam.
I hate when the in-state rivalries die because of conference realignment, right? Texas A&M on Thanksgiving was one of my favorite games. And Oklahoma State always feels heated because the game's weird. It's very odd, especially when it's in Stillwater. If I had to make a play here, I would probably lay them with Oklahoma. I do think they're better. But if you're a individual prop person like a Prize Picks, hit that over half a touchdown for Ollie Gordon. No one is talking about Ollie Gordon. He is the best running back in the country. And if you haven't seen Ollie Gordon play yet, you're going to enjoy it at 3:30. Get a window, or if you have the YouTube quad box, make sure you put him on there because he is fun to watch. He is electric.
Nice. All right. Well, take a little drink for the end of the Bedlam era.
Yeah, it sucks.
And Matt, why don't you take us into Penn State, Maryland? Tell us what you're doing there.
This bet stinks, and I want to put that on the front end, but my numbers say it should be a 9-point game. I'm going to take the 11.5 with Maryland. Penn State has not looked great their last 2 weeks, so this is like a perfect spot for them to get right. And that scares the shit out of me, but I do think this game will be closer than everyone thinks. Take the points with Maryland.
Nice. All right, then we've got Tulane going into East Carolina. I think Matt already told me before we started recording that he doesn't like this one, but I may be confusing that with Toledo. I don't remember. Matt, when he comes back, he can let us know.
Central Michigan. I don't know.
Okay. I'm taking 16.5 with East Carolina with Tulane coming into town. It's just too many points. Nobody else has thoughts there. I'll move on to
I don't.
Yeah, we'll move on to UCF Cincinnati. I am taking the 5 there with Cincinnati as well. I know UCF had that good game against Oklahoma, but other than that, they have not been as impressive as they were when they were not in a Power 5 conference. So we'll go with Cincinnati there.
Yeah, this is a big game. That one of them is going to get their first Big 12 win. I'm not making light of that, right? Clearly, it's been a struggle. I bet UCF last week because I thought they would get their first win against West Virginia, and they did not. So I'm curious to watch this play out because there's a lot at stake here for both Scott Satterfield and Gus Malzahn. So someone's got to get a Big 12 win, and either one of them not getting a Big 12 win in a year is a disaster.
Yeah, you're not making light of it, but I am. That's hilarious.
It is funny. Yeah, these people want to play big time football. Like it's a little bit tougher to play big time football every week.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, but our quarterback's hurt." Yeah, that's what happens when you play a good team every week. People get hurt. All right, moving along. 4:00 window. Charlotte is going into Tulsa. We're on the same play here, Matt. What do you
got? So I hate this play, but everything indicates Tulsa played SMU last week, and they lost by 59 points. That is so many Iowa touchdowns. They lost by like 18 safety. But East Carolina is also not very – I'm sorry, Charlotte is not very good. I'm laying the 3.5. I'm closing my nose and praying upon God that this one plays out.
Yeah, I'm on it as well. Charlotte's just not very good. So Tulsa at home, I'll lay the 3.5. Following that trend, Hawaii is coming into Nevada. Nevada is laying 3.5. I'm taking another favorite here. I've been raking it in betting on Nevada. They're not good, but they're not terrible either. I think they are a little bit better than what their record shows here. I'm a little bit leery of taking them as a favorite. They have not been favored much this year. But it's Hawaii on the road, away from the island. So I'll do it. Nevada minus 3.5.
Something that plays in your favor here. This is a 10 a.m. kick Hawaiian.
Yeah. All right. Then we've got Louisiana Monroe, ULM heading into Southern Miss. Sunshine, what do you got for us there?
So, all right. So Southern Miss hasn't won a game since game 1. Louisiana Monroe hasn't won a game since game 2. I think I'm getting this one right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Something's got to give? Is that
somebody's got to win? This game victorious. And the line is like it's USM minus 2.5. I don't fucking know. I don't know if I like that or I hate that. But what I really hope is that it's a bloodbath scoring. And it's just an awesome game that these teams, like, because they're both 0 in the Sun Belt. They haven't won a single game. Somebody's going to win this game. They're going to fight for it.
Next week, whoever loses this game, just take the other side. Take the other side because this is the classic. Southern Miss is looking like they've been giving up for weeks. Louisiana Monroe's close. This one, if you don't get this win, they're packing it in. Bet the other side. I got to make a note of that.
I like that a lot. All right, then moving into 5:30, Cal is going into Oregon. Cal is getting 24 points. I've taken all these favorites. I got a bad taste in my mouth. I got to get it out of there. I'm taking Cal and the 24. The same way that the Utah line was lower than it should have been because people are overreacting to the Oregon win. People are overreacting to Oregon as well. Cal just played USC really close. Not saying they're a good football team. Not saying they're as good as Oregon, but 24. Too many points.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to make of Cal. That's it. Oregon, I know, is really good. That's it.
They are. That's true. They got rid of Mario, so of course they're going to be good.
They're loosened up.
All right, then we got Marshall going into App State. Chris, what do you got?
So I think this is going to be a well-played, close game. Marshall started off the season strong. I think they're sitting 4-4 right now. So I think they won 4 and then they lost their last 4. I think they continue. I think App State will win by, more than 4. So I'm laying the points with App State.
Love it.
Nice. All right, next up we've got a couple of Four Corners games. Middle Tennessee State going to New Mexico State and UNLV going into New Mexico. I'm taking the points with both dogs here. Still had that bad taste in my mouth, so I gotta get it out a little bit more here. Middle Tennessee State is getting 3 against New Mexico State, and then New Mexico is getting 10.5 with UNLV coming into town. I'm taking both of those dogs. Then we've got Georgia Southern, Texas State. Chris, why don't you kick us off in this one?
Georgia Southern's coming off a big win against Georgia State. I mean, for the conference. It's a big win. And Texas State is definitely they got some big wins under their belt too. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I do believe that Georgia Southern will I think they'll win by more than 2. So I'm laying the points.
Matt, what do you got?
It's just too many damn points in the game, right? Like it's 71 and a half right now. It's 71.
Yeah.
Look, I know Texas State has been scoring a lot.
They scored 87 in one game.
I know they did. And Georgia Southern also could score a lot. 71, so many points. I just got to take the under a bit.
Honestly, if you guys weren't taking the under, I know this sounds crazy. I might be taking the over.
Take it, buddy.
No, because you guys are on it. I'm just like, no way. There's no way you're both wrong.
That's happened once or twice before. But yeah, I'm on it with Matt. Under 71. Too many points. Way too many points. This isn't Pac-12 after dark.
No, it isn't.
All right. I'm going to just rattle off a couple here because we need to keep this moving. Kansas is playing Iowa State. I'm laying the 2.5 with Iowa State.
What a crazy world we're living in, man. That is a crazy spread, and I think you're right. That's wild.
Yeah, if you look at Kansas's season last year and then Iowa State, what people expected coming into this year, they were taken in our bad team draft. I don't remember by who. It's not important. And they're 4-1 in conference, I think. Yeah, so Iowa State laying the 2.5. Then we got Utah State, bad team, going into San Diego State. I'm taking the 3 points with San Diego State. Yeah, 2 bad teams, but I'm going to take the points with the home dog. And then another SEC matchup, Kentucky going into Mississippi State. I'm taking the 3 with Mississippi State, but Matt, I think you're going to fight me on this one.
Yeah, it's both bad teams again, right? Kentucky has been showing more fight, and people really get hard on Stoops, but it's really hard to win at Kentucky, and it's really hard to win at Mississippi State. So I do think Kentucky is considerably better, and you can play at Stark Vegas. You can ring the cowbells all you want. I do think they're probably 7 or 10 points better. So on a road I'd say they're probably 10 points better. So on a road environment, it seems like the right number to take the points, to lay the points with Kentucky against Mississippi State.
Fair enough. We'll see how it goes. Then at 7:30, we've got Purdue, Michigan. I am taking 32.5 points with Purdue.
Wow.
Favorites week is almost over here, guys. 32.5 is a damn lot of points. Michigan's going to have to reel in their sign stealing a little bit here. I'm taking the points with the dog on this one. Danny is going under 48.5, which actually reminds me of a strategy. I don't know if you guys ever do this, but sometimes when you have these games with relatively low totals, but huge spreads, right? Like the spread is 32.5 and the total's 48. That's 16-point difference. If you look at the first half and then you take the dog plus the points and you take the over, there's usually like a very small window where when you lose both of them. The vast majority of the time you hit at least one, and then most of the time you hit both. So
it's almost arbitrage. It's not even arbitrage. It's like positive arbitrage because there's a chance of winning both.
Yeah, there is a chance of losing both, but usually you need Purdue to score like 3 points or something like that. If they score 3 points or 5 points, it depends on the spread, right? But very small number. If they score that, then it becomes impossible to lose both. So I might look at doing this one on that.
I like that. I've never heard of that. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's fun. A lot of times you can do it the first couple of weeks of the season when you got Bama playing like a cupcake or like you get a lot of these huge spreads but low totals. All right, finishing out the 7:30 window, Washington going in to play USC. Probably would have been a bigger matchup a couple weeks ago before USC lost a couple of games, but still a good game. I'm taking USC plus the 5. I don't love it. Michael Penix scares me here a little bit. What do you got, Matt?
I don't really have a play in this game. I don't know what to make of either team at this point. USC has looked bad, legitimately bad since Colorado. Like the Colorado game got way too close at the end, and they haven't blown out anyone. Needing to stop a 2-point conversion against Cal is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous outcome when you're USC and you have a prolific offense. Your defense has gotten worse from a historically bad USC defense last year. I don't know how that's possible. But Washington hasn't played particularly great since the Oregon game. I'm excited to watch this game. This is a great evening window with this game and the one we're going to talk about next. I have no idea what to make of it. And I'm like I said, undefeated teams going on the road in November, something's going to give, right? Everyone's going to say, well, you're going to see the playoffs come out tomorrow and the playoff rankings. Everyone's going to get up in arms, and it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it always has a tendency to play itself out. There'll be a couple undefeated teams and a couple teams that will get a loss. This could be one of those spots. So I like where you are, Andy. I know Al's under 76.5. It is an absurdly high number. It's important to note that the USC Cal game got to 100 points, and Cal doesn't have the offense that Washington has. So I understand what Al's doing here. I do not know what to make of it. It's just such a big number. I would lean under with him if I had to make a play, but he's on under 76.5.
So, Matt, last year you and I took some of these huge USC totals and went over, and it was really profitable. And I kind of want to start going back to that a little bit. I'm not going to lock it up, but just personally, 77, 11 touchdowns. That's such a fun number. I might just sprinkle a little bit.
You know what? I may join you on that. I don't think it's the right side. I don't think it's the smart side either, but it is the fun side.
Yeah. Last note on this one before we move on is I was watching football over the weekend and they put up a graphic that was however many games Lincoln Riley's been at USC, Todd Helton's first that many games at USC. And Todd Helton was slightly better than Lincoln Riley through the same number of games. Like, it's unbelievable. Especially when you got a Heisman quarterback winner there. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I think there is a modicum of recruiting misalignment there. I do think Todd Helton benefited from the recruiting that was in place. And Helton's biggest, Clay Helton. Todd Helton's the Colorado Rocky slugger. Clay Helton did benefit from the recruiting that was already in place. And he was a good coach, right? A fine coach. Sorry, is a better way. But he wasn't a particularly good recruiter. Lincoln Riley is a good offensive mind, and he's a good recruiter. But God, that defensive side of the ball. Alex Grinch has got to get fired. I know people like Alex Grinch and liked him at Oklahoma, but he is not good. This cannot stand. You can't score 40 points a game and lose consistently. It's ridiculous.
It's a good landing spot for Brian Ferentz.
Ooh, boy, as
defensive coordinator. Because it can't get any worse. And
it's going to be a good job. I mean, that is, if Baylor keeps playing this poorly, right, I do think there's a chance Dave Aranda gets fired. And if Dave Aranda gets fired, that is a wonderful landing spot for a guy who ran an LSU defense that was awesome for like a decade.
Yep. Speaking of LSU, the other exciting game in this window that Matt mentioned, 7:45, LSU going into play Alabama. Al has a play on this one. He's taking the Bama team total over 31.5. He's expecting points from Bama, which makes sense considering LSU's terrible defense. And that kind of plays into the play that Matt and I are both on as well. I'm going to be finishing out favorites week here, laying the 3 with Bama. I'm excited to do this. I almost never get to lay points with a good team like Bama. With this, just the spreadsheet won't let me. So I'm excited to do this here. Matt, why don't you tell us why you're on this one?
Yeah, I think Alabama has shown that they're getting better. LSU's good, right? I don't want anyone to get it twisted. I know LSU lost the Ole Miss game, which was a shootout, and lost to Florida State. They're freaking good, especially on the offensive side of the team. I don't know if there's a better offense in the country than what LSU provides. Like, they are dangerous. We talked about USC before, and we talked about Washington. I think LSU is on par or better than both of those. I just think Bama at home, you're giving me – I get to have 3 points. I get to lay a field goal. If we win by a field goal, I get my money back. It's the right side. Bama's been playing very well and kind of covering spreads. They went on the road at Tennessee. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They had Tennessee at home. But they handled business against Tennessee even when they were down. They do things that aren't exciting, but they win the ball game and they cover the spreads. I'm kind of rooting for LSU here as a selfish Florida State fan who needs our win credentials to go up. But I'm taking Bama laying 3 with my money.
Nice. All right, then at 8 p.m., Miami, NC State. This will be the shortest Miami segment we've ever done, so you're welcome. I'm taking the 4.5 with NC State. I know NC State's not very good, but Miami's needed overtime to get their last 2 wins. They almost lost to Virginia. I'm taking NC State plus 4.5.
Dare I say the same thing? This could be a look-ahead spot for Miami as well as it is for Florida State. Miami knows that they are in a recruiting battle, and Miami knows that they are better at recruiting than Florida State, like unequivocally. Norvell may be a better X's and O's coach. He ain't a better recruiter than Cristobal. Like, that is cut and dry, the facts. So they may be really investing into next week, trying to get some win, especially in Tallahassee where they have it. The last 2 have gone to Florida State. So they're trying to slow down the momentum Norvell has. They may look ahead. NC State's still got a good defense. That's what they do. And Carter Finley Stadium at NC State is one of the toughest places to play because they are one of the drunkest crowds. I've been there. And I've seen it firsthand. They get wild, and it's a tough place.
It's probably less drunk when you're not there, though.
No, yeah, I'm not that drunk. I'm saying, like, it's also like, I don't want to disparage schools in North Carolina. There's a couple really smart schools and a couple of not as smart schools, and NC State falls in the category as the not as smart. And they get a lot more towny Raleigh folks at that game. Let me put it that way. But it's a lot louder, and it's built into like a bowl, so sound is really loud at Carter Finley. Have you been to Carter Finley, Sunshine?
I have not. But I did want to make a comment. You're talking about recruiting, Norvell versus Cristobal, and Cristobal being a better recruiter. And does Norvell know how to take a knee when he needs to take a knee.
He does. He knows how to win some ball games. As we talked about earlier, 13 straight and scoring 30 plus in all of them is pretty neat.
There's nobody here to counter argument that. So, but
Miami sucks, right? Cheers.
Yes, absolutely. Cheers to that. That's way too much Miami talk.
That was a
even
lot
have
longer.
the two guys here. So our last pick of the evening is at 9 p.m. We do not have any picks on the 10 p.m. or 10:30 games, which is a travesty. I apologize. I guess we all have to hope that the World Series goes to 7 games and that there's a baseball game on at that time on Saturday night. But Matt, take us to Stanford, Washington State. What do you got there?
Yeah, I know Washington State did not look particularly good at Arizona State, as Danny alluded earlier. And he's right. They didn't look very good. Stanford is not particularly good unless they play a Colorado team, and they have a corner that's played 150 plays. I like Washington State. Lay the 13.5 here at home.
That's scary, but it's favorite week, so I support it.
Yeah. It is a lot of points. There's a lot of points.
All right, before we wrap this thing up, there are a couple of interesting games here. Oregon State, Colorado. Anybody want to talk about Deion some more?
Yeah, I do think you're starting to see, Andy, you and I talked about this before the season. You were starting to see some of the attrition set in, right? And Deion wants to get upset with this offensive line, and I kind of get it. If my son was playing quarterback and getting blasted every time, and the problem here is Shedeur Sanders invites sacks because he holds on to the ball for a long time. It allows plays to develop.
Let's make a play. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's awesome. He's a great kid, great player. I'm not knocking him at all. But you're starting to see the attrition wear down, and you need depth when you start playing in these leagues, to the point that we made about UCF and Cincinnati. Quality depth is huge in big conferences, and I think you're starting to see it. I would probably lay him with Oregon State, even going into Colorado, but it's just too scary of a proposition. UCLA at Arizona. Arizona's playing good, man. I don't know what to make of it. I know they went away from Dante Moore, who was their freshman, like all-world 5-star, because he wasn't making enough plays for UCLA. I like what Arizona's doing here, but I'd probably play 53.5 small. I'd probably go over, weirdly enough. Never mind. I thought it was going to be in the 60s, so I was going to take an under.
Yeah. Just real quick for 1 second, going back to that Oregon State Colorado game. Like, Matt absolutely nailed this before the season. If you don't believe us, we have a Pac-12 preview podcast. I guess we got a preview podcast where he said Colorado does not have the depth. As the season goes along, they're going to get hurt, and they're not going to have like the next man up to step up. Just is not at the level that they need to be. Matt was all over this. He absolutely nailed it. So kudos on that, Matt.
No, and they can't run the ball anymore, man, because the line is Dion's not wrong. For all the shitty things talking about kids and saying I'm going to have to go buy new offensive linemen, essentially, he's not wrong that they're not adequate.
Right. It's just not the cool thing to say to the media.
Exactly. And it feels bad when you're talking about kids who may be going there for college educations and not seeing, they don't necessarily observe the big business because they're not getting the NIL money. They went there because they love the University of Colorado and they got a chance to play football. That's the thing I hate, right? Like, but as far as big business, no, he's not incorrect.
Yep.
For anybody out there keeping tally, just keep these players on your watch list because Matt has been talking about them since the beginning. Ollie Gordon and Luther Burden.
That's the son of the Reading Rainbow guy, right?
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He carries a lot of weight in his shoulders. It's a burden. No, Ollie Gordon is good. If you guys haven't watched Ollie Gordon, if I could say a prize picks, if you get over a half a touchdown from Ollie Gordon, or Oklahoma's run defense does not look good, do that. Put that in there, group it with something else you like. They haven't released the other numbers, but I love that.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. That's our
ChuggieBet.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Al put his in here, so let me scroll back up and find that. Iowa -5 is Al's official Chuggy bet. He put that in for us before he started. Matt, what is yours going to be?
I'm going under in Georgia Southern Texas State, under 71.
All right. Sunshine, what about you? You have a Chuggy bet for us?
You go ahead. You pick one.
All right, I gotta go back and look. I always forget, and I never do it ahead of time. I've made this my chuggy bet a bunch lately, but it keeps working for me. I'm going with Nevada. Nevada minus
Nevada
3.5.
again. I love it.
I think I'm going to take the. I'll take the Georgia State plus 5.5.
I like
No,
Right.
that is fucking dumb. No, nobody listening should do that. Terrible one. No, it's not safe. Georgia State minus 2. The Georgia Southern minus 2.
Okay. And Danny had to drop, but I am going to make his chuggy bet Arizona State just because he was so confident and telling Matt and I that we were wrong. He really we were 4 picks later down the row, and he brought it back up. He had to get those more stats in there. So Arizona State plus 11 is going to be Danny's chuggy bet.
It's the hill he'll die on.
Yes.
He loves finding a hill to die on.
Yeah, no shortage of those. All right. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around with us. Hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. We will have an NFL pod out later, so keep your eyes open for that one. Until then, like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your mom. And good night, Joey.
Night, Joey.
Good night, Al's friend Matt.